Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Today on the program, we're talking technology, specifically robots. Since September, teams of young Vermonters have been designing, programming, and building robots to compete in an international competition. The first Tech Challenge is an annual event that requires book smarts and emotional intelligence to compete on a global stage. The first Tech Challenge Championship in Vermont was held a couple of weeks ago. Keith Silva went to the event to meet some of the competitors, check out their robots, and file this report.
3, 2, 1.
The first thing to know about FIRST, which stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology, is that it involves designing, building, and programming robots. Like most sports, that's only the first thing that these young women and men are learning.
I think I've learned how to not only be a strong leader in the sense of helping team members think about their strengths and contributions to the team, but also how I can more effectively communicate my goals and be a strong listener on a team dynamic as well.
It's a lot of mental power just going into this whole day, all year, all culminating to this, and it's fantastic.
The goal is not to win against them. The goal is to do the best for yourself.
Arlen Brookley is the coach of Bubbert Innovations, a First Tech Challenge team from Washington County, Vermont.
It's not about the robot, it's about a lot of time with the kids getting together to work together to figure out how they're going to solve a problem.
FIRST is the world's leading youth-serving nonprofit, advancing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM. In Vermont, FIRST is managed by UVM's College of Engineering and Mathematical Sciences and supported by UVM Extension's 4-H program. Liz Kenton, a 4-H outreach professional, helped organize this event.
We are in the gym at CVU, Champlain Valley Union High School in Heinsberg, Vermont. They have been the host of this competition for a few years now. These teams have been working toward it since September. 2 of today's teams are going to be the Vermont State Champions, so they're going to be eligible to go on to World Championships in Houston, the Super Bowl of robotics.
You might want to take notes.
When John Cohen isn't emceeing robot competitions and wearing outrageous outfits, he's a UVM Distinguished Visiting Scholar with the College of Engineering and Mathematical Sciences.
Oh, I really love robots. Part of my assignment at University of Vermont, I was working with colleagues like Doug Dickey, the assistant dean for the College of Engineering and Mathematical Sciences, and people at the Generator Makerspace, where I'm a founding board member. We came together and applied for a grant called a First STEM Equity Grant. And the idea is to try to get the STEM programs at all different levels to be able to better serve underrepresented groups, women, BIPOC, LGBTQ, and luckily for us, also rural people who are just underserved.
For Cohen, this is an opportunity to boost awareness and access of STEM programs in order to showcase the talent of Vermont students.
I think my big takeaway is the sort of resilience and creativity of people. When I think about Vermont, you think about our brand of our brave little state. It's this kind of, Yankee ingenuity, and man, is it on display here.
As for this competition, it's called Freight Frenzy. The game is played on a 12-foot square playing field. 2 teams work together to accomplish tasks from picking up balls and blocks, called freight, to spinning rubber ducks on a carousel. There is both an autonomous period where the robots are pre-programmed to accomplish tasks, and a driver period where humans operate the robots. There are penalties if the robots interfere with the opponents or the goals. Like most sports, the scoring is complicated. And it most definitely is a sport.
It's definitely a sport, yes. It's more
behind the scenes than what you see here. That's sort of the beauty of it. But yes, it's a sport.
What are you going to take away from this and use in other parts of your life?
I think I'll take away from it my sort of fearlessness of conquering things that I'm uncomfortable with.
Phillips' teammate, Lindsay Beer, says that getting this robot ready is a team effort.
We have team members with all different interests between web design, social media influence, the more textbook skills, math, science, physics, all of that. So it really takes a combination of everyone's skills to make it come together.
Mostly our plan is just intake first and push it through.
Listening to Charlotte Woolley of the Manchester Machine Makers describe her team's robot makes your head spin. Then again, this is a competition that isn't only about the robot.
Yes, it is, but it's also a big part of when you're building the robot, like during the season, is just preparing yourself for, what about the challenges that could arise from using large diameter wheels instead of small diameter wheels, or what's going to happen if we go over the barriers this year instead of around them? What are some consequences of going around the barriers instead of over them? It's that sort of thing. But also coming here really puts those skills to the test, where all of a sudden all of those problem-solving skills that you've been building up all year have to, you have to actually have them in order for you to do well when you get here, because anything that could go wrong will go wrong.
Ruli has plans for the future, but her heart will always be with her team.
I'm a senior this year, so I'm going to college next year, which is scary to think about. I really hope that I can keep working with these guys, just because it's been a huge part of my life the last 3 years. I'm planning to go to school in the area, so hopefully I'll be able to come back during school breaks and probably sign on as a mentor, because I can't actually be a part of the team, but signing on as a mentor would be the next best thing.
In addition to getting the robots ready for competition, these teams are also trying to generate interest in the next generation, scientists, engineers, and computer programmers. Jake Brookley Langlois is one of the co-captains of Bubbert Innovations from Central Vermont.
We do a lot of work with community and children in our area to help bring STEAM education into rural Vermont.
For Brookley Langlois, this competition is not only about the robot, it's about teamwork and building empathy and camaraderie.
My team are some of my closest friends, and not just because we're forced to spend a lot of time together, but because the robot just represents the amount of work we put into it. And the only thing I can really think of is it's a family. And even when we're remote and independently working together, just because you're not with someone doesn't mean they're not with you.
Being first in this competition means creating friendships and building life skills that last a lifetime. In Hinesburg, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Keith. What a great story. So I'd like to welcome Liz Kenton, who is joining us via Zoom. What an exciting but pretty hectic event that you helped coordinate. This is wonderful. So who is going to the World Championships?
World champs from Vermont this year, or state champs from Vermont who are going to Worlds, are the CVU RoboHawks, and from Hinesburg, and Batteries Not Included from South Burlington.
Awesome. And the competition that was held at CVU is just for one of the program levels in FIRST, and a lot of partners work together to make this event possible. What are some of the other programs that FIRST offers young people, and who's involved?
FIRST has program levels for age 4 through 18. There's the Lego League at a couple of different levels, and competitions at the highest level that's hosted through Norwich University. Then we have FIRST Technical Challenge, which is what I'm a part of and we just saw. And then the FIRST Robotics Competition, much more complicated robots. And there are a few independent teams, and they're managed through New England FIRST.
Wow. And do the younger kids get to compete in statewide events?
They do. The FIRST Lego League Challenge for ages 9 to 14 out of Norwich has a competition in late January at Norwich.
Awesome. So they're very included too. So we learned in the video that there's really something for everyone and every skill level. Talk about those non-scientific tasks that teams are expected also to accomplish.
FIRST really includes the social emotional skills in the program. They call it gracious professionalism. Just, being courteous, and you would never, talk down another team or boo anybody. And they also talk about cooperation. You are competing against other teams, but they might be on your alliance in the next competition. So you will be against a team, and in the next game, they're your partner. So really working together. Communication, there are folks on teams who are doing budgeting, outreach, as some of the kids said, planning, setting up spaces. So a lot of kind of people management and communication, as well as the technical skills. And the technical skills include building the robots, but welding, 3D printing, programming, CAD design, a lot of cool stuff.
Amazing. And how do the teams get the kits to build the robots? How much can those kits be changed if they get kits? So how do they start?
They get them through FIRST. There's a very, very organized setup for the equipment, for the season, for what teams are like, registration, all that is set up. So there's a company that produces the specific game parts for the game, which changes every year. So for the competition, there's pretty strict rules about the parts for your robot, the programming system, and the field parts. In the off season, there's a lot more leeway to do kind of makerspace experimentation and DIY.
Right. And I hear that having FIRST experience can help someone applying to college.
Absolutely. In addition to the skills that you're gaining through it, there are scholarships specifically for FIRST alumni, both through FIRST itself and through some of the top science schools. I know MIT, Worcester Polytechnic, recruit specifically FIRST alumni, so that can really help. One of the coaches at the competition was saying that their child had just been accepted to college, and specifically FIRST really made that possible.
Wow. So there are about 40 teams in Vermont already. How can someone start a team?
Get in touch with us. We do have a rudimentary webpage at firstinvt.org with a contact page, but getting in touch with me, and then I'll put them in touch with the right program level. This could be a youth or a parent or a teacher who gets in touch. They don't need to have the technical skills. We can connect them with experienced teams and with volunteers from the community and businesses that can support that side of things.
And very quickly, any other major requirements to start a team? A little bit of money?
Just the interest. Might need a space, but you can figure that out.
Okay.
And there are a little bit of money to buy the parts, yes.
All right, and which is why businesses and other people also sponsor these. Thank you so much, Liz, for being with us today.
Thank you, Fran.
And if you'd like to start a FIRST robotics program at your school or on your own, contact UVM Extension 4-H on the website. There is the website at uvm.edu/extension/youth or 802-651-8343. And that's our show for today. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.